All right. Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera and of Diamond Rivera Films, and you're tuned into another episode of Live Discussions with Diamond. And today I have a very special guest, an amazing innovator in dance nowadays, especially in our salsa scene. One half of the Angel and Stephany project we have here today, Miss Stephany Moore.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Absolutely, Steph. I'm extremely happy to have you. Like we've talked privately before, my understanding of you definitely was in New York City with a lot of the salsa mania and the different socials we have in New York, and seeing you first really break out as a solo artist.
Yeah.
And I was definitely always intrigued, but more than ever now, seeing your work with Angel Peguero, which we'll get into, has been really amazing. The routines you guys have come up with are so complex,
Thank
a
you.
lot of creativity and fluidity. For me, it's very important, again, on this platform that I can have this opportunity to connect with you because sometimes we're always in passing. So getting that
Yes.
time to just like decompress, talk amongst each other, understand one another, but also celebrate. Because not just as a dancer, but you as an entrepreneur and working with makeup, which we'll get into, is a lot to, I believe, who Stephany is. But again, I thank you, Stephany, so much for coming. Yeah, before we get into it, is there anything you have to say?
No, I just want to thank you again. I've thanked you like so many times. But thank you to you, Diamond, for inviting me. I feel super honored that little old me, you want to get to know me. I know in New York City, everybody's in passing, everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and no one takes it personal. It's just that's how it is.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that now, given the pandemic, we're kind of taking advantage and getting to know each other and like finding other talents and all these great things, and people are able to still connect with some artists that they want to get to know. So it's super cool. Thank you. And to everyone that's watching, little me, thank you for watching and tuning in.
Absolutely. And just like I tell a lot of my guests, throughout the interview, we'll be having various comments that are coming usually from Facebook or YouTube. So kind of you can see the interaction and the people that's on. But for me, I always have my guests. I love to tell them. I know I've understood the person you are now, but it's so much more important to understand where it all came from, where it all started from. So if you could kind of take us all the way back to where you first started, your first classes, and what inspired you to become a dancer.
Okay, so I think that I was inspired to be a dancer from the womb.
Mm.
Because before walking, my parents would say that I was dancing. I was always, my entire life, I've been dancing. My first actual class, I was 6 years old. I did ballet, and I did ballet for 5 years. And then I got a little bored, and I wanted to do hip hop, and I wanted to do reggaeton, and everything I was
Yeah.
listening to. Hey, guy. So I was doing all those. I wanted to get into the urban, kind of genre of dance, and my mom didn't let me. She was like, "No, you're sticking to classical." Whatever. So I was like, then I'm not dancing. I rebelled and I was like, I'm just not going to dance. And I shifted to acting and modeling.
Mm.
So I did acting and modeling. I went to acting and modeling school, Barbizon, USA. I did some competitions in Los Angeles. But my heart wasn't really into it because I just constantly felt judged. I constantly felt like I wasn't good enough because you're always you're competing in every single tryout. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, there's always a competition
every
aspect.
casting. Yeah, and a lot of times it has nothing to do with your talent. It's like your look. And me being 5'1", modeling was like something I wanted to do, like runway, but I couldn't because I can't. I'm too short. So it was just a constant battle. Like I constantly felt like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't the it,
Mhm.
thing. So the it look. So I started to pick up ballet again simultaneously. I was starting point, and then within that year, I was about to turn 15. So as a Latina, we celebrate our quinceañera,
Yes.
and I did want a court. So I had a court, and my parents reached out to Julissa Hernandez. Shout out to Julissa Hernandez. She is I call her my dance mom, but she is one of the best dancers in South Florida, in my opinion. And she is the one that did my quince. 2 years later, she did my friend's quince. And she was like, I was 17 at the time. And she's like, you know what? You have some potential. You should come over to my team. And at the time, the team she was on was called Latin Beat, with Daniel Sanchez, a lot of dancers that were well known at that time, which was around 2010 in Florida. So I joined. They put me on the pro team right away. Like, I didn't even know what an on one, on two. I didn't know anything, you know, like they just put me in a pro team and I was just like, okay. But they pushed me and I learned these routines and I would fall and get back up and I would just figure it out. Toes going numb. Calluses where I didn't think you could get a callus on your foot. Wearing heels, holes in my heels all the time. It was fun. It was really different. My mom was like, Stephany, you need to figure it out because you're doing acting, you're doing modeling, you're doing ballet. Like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. And I was like, no, Mom, I love style. Like, this is my passion. I found it. I'm leaving everything for this. Mind you, I say I'm from Miami, but I'm actually from Stewart, which is an hour and a half north of Miami. And if you know Stewart, then you know there are no Latinos. There's just like nothing. Like, it's just viejitos, retired people. Hi, Carlos. Oh, thank you. So it's just a bunch of white people and no Latinos. So when Julissa told me, hey, join my team, it was a sacrifice because Stewart and Fort Lauderdale, that's where the team was in Fort Lauderdale, it's an hour away. And there were some concerns like, hey, she's 17, she's gonna be driving every weekend up and down, an hour there, an hour back. But my parents trusted me. They trusted Julissa. They got to know the team. And yeah, every weekend for 7 years, I was Stewart is country. Exactly. It's not what I wanted it to be. But anyway, so I would drive for 7 years. I was on the team. So it was Latin Beat, and then became the owner, and then he changed it to Prestige. So that's what is now known as Prestige. So I was with them for 7 years. Until 2017. So I started 2010 up until 2017. I had a few partners. So at first I was UM's partner, the director. Shout out to UM, and then Carlos Gonzalez, Galdames. I'm tripping. Galdames, Carlos, love you partner, and then Daniel Sanchez was I would say, partner that like really molded me as a dancer. Like he instilled a lot of discipline, a lot of drilling, he saw a lot of potential in me, but it needed to be directed, guided, like molded. So, it kind of I had a lot of habits, a lot of bad habits.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, like you said, you were in a pro team, kind of just pushed in. Yeah, exactly. So exactly, you're just pushed into choreo, and like I mentioned, I was 17, so going to socials an hour away and being so young, it was tough to go to a social because I understood that you needed to social dance to get better, but to go to a good social, you would have to go to Fort Lauderdale, like for on-two dancers. Gotcha. And that's what I was training, and I was training in on-two. Everywhere else, they kind of just dance on one. So it was hard, but we would rehearse social dancing. Like, it was a lot of work, but it was good training that molded me to then dance with Yazbek Cervantes in Mexico for a few months. Then that also opened a door for me to dance in Italy with Sheila de Jesus. And in the scheme of all of that, I did meet Angel. We were actually dating before we were partners. We were dating about a year before we became partners, and that kind of just happened by accident. Not by accident, like it was just like, okay, let's try it out. And, but yeah, like I mentioned, I guess in retrospect, I was on Prestige for 7 years until 2017. I graduated college, and my last year of college, I always said I wanted to go to New York because I was always juggling dance and school, right? And
even though I would, you still have this idea of pursuing your job and your career, what you're studying, I still had dance in my forefront. Like I wanted to go where the best dancers were, and that's where I wanted to be. So, hey Bree. So yeah, I then had this opportunity before going to New York to work with Yazbek. I was in Mexico for 3 or 4 months, I believe. We went to New York as well. We performed a few times. It went really well with Tequila, one of our routines. Then it was kind of it was hard for him to be in New York, and I wanted to be in New York. So we parted our ways. And then I went to Italy for a little bit, and then I finally moved to New York. But I met Angel. I met Angel in that same year. It was a pretty crazy year, but I met Angel in 2017 before leaving Prestige. I met him at the summit. At Summit.
World Salsa Summit, yes.
World Salsa Summit. I met him on that Sunday night that if you've been to the summit, you know that on Sunday there is nobody there. Okay, you can see the 5 leads and the 5 follows. You dance with them like 5 times because there are hardly any people there.
Yeah, I mean, and we're gonna get to that because a lot of people don't get it. Like at a lot of congresses, that's why they've been putting a lot of in events. Sundays they try to bring a big act or something big because they understand usually Sundays people are getting back home to get to their families to get back to work on Monday.
Yeah, all those international dancers are gone. They're tired. They got their trophies.
Yes,
they are out.
They came with what they wanted, and now they're going home.
I was in college, so I went to Florida International University, so that's in Miami, and I lived in Miami, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the competition, go to the social that they have on Sunday. Let me just get this little basic in, and then I walk in, and I'm like, okay, scoping the room, like, all right, there aren't a lot of dancers. I at least got to get one good dance. So I see this guy who is flocked by all these girls, okay? I'm talking about Angel. So I see him, he's just chilling, just like how I'm sitting here. He got all these girls from New York talking to him. So I noticed that he danced very well. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna ask him to dance because I wanna get a good dance in. I don't know where he's from, but I wanna dance, So I was like, hey, do you want to dance with me? And then he was like, oh, sure. So we danced together. And then what's really funny is that during our dance, I remembered his lead, which is really crazy because I've danced with a lot of people, but I remembered his lead from 2 years prior at the same competition at Summit.
Yeah.
And I was like, in the dance, I'm such a dork. I was like, hey, I've danced with you before. You know what I mean? Like,
and so while you're in kind of mid-stride, you're like, wait, this feels...
this is familiar. Yeah, I'm just one of those people that I just say it. I'm in the moment. I'm just going to say it before I forget, right? So I was like, hey, I've danced with you before. Were you here 2 years ago? Blah, 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 blah. You were wearing a red shirt. Blah, blah,
wow.
blah.
Okay. I mean,
I know.
You've done your research.
Yeah, I have, like you mentioned, I have a memory of an elephant. I remember certain details. So I remembered that. And he's like, yeah, I was. I think I remember you too. Whatever. I was like, yo, you're bomb. It was super nice to dance with you again. Blah. I danced with other people. He asked me for me to dance. We exchanged social medias. He told me he's from Philly, that he doesn't have a partner. Blah. So I check in with him. I sent him a message. I was like, hey, I hope you got back to Philly fine. It was a pleasure to dance with you. And then the rest is history. Basically, we started dating. It was a long distance relationship. I ended up going to Mexico, going to Italy. He still supported everything that I wanted, and finally we were able to link up in New York and start a normal relationship, right? Because long distance is very hard. Time zones are very, very difficult. But yeah, we moved in eventually in New York City, and then he was just like, one day, he hadn't had a partner for over a year. He had kind of been looking for a partner. Nothing was really sticking. I didn't have a partner either. And I wasn't really looking. I was just going with the flow, doing my solo stuff. And then one day he was like, hey, I got to tell you something. I was like, okay, what is it? And he's like, oh, no, I'm not going to tell you. I was like, wait, no, you have to tell me. Like, what? I was like, fine, okay, let's drop it. So then we're just awkwardly sitting, no TV, no nothing, like just awkwardly sitting there. And he's like, okay, what if we become partners? And then my eyes, you know, I'm
kind of
like,
just lit up, you know?
oh yeah, I lit up. I was
Me?
like, oh, me. I was like, oh, wow.
Wow, I didn't think you would ask me.
Oh my God, that would be so cute. You know, I'm over here thinking like butterflies, sparkles, you know, like unicorns. It's just so romantic. And in his head, he was very skeptical because I had my previous boyfriends, they had never been dancers. Like I had never dated a dancer. He had been in relationship with his previous partners. Mm-hmm. So and his experiences weren't as great. So he was very skeptical because he didn't want that to come back. Like, you know, like he just didn't want bad experiences. He didn't want to set us up for failure, you know, as one could be afraid of. So he's like, you know, let's try it out. Let's just have, you know, some rehearsals. I have a song that I never touched. So I was like, okay. I realized what he was talking about as far as like being skeptical or being scared, because it's not easy. It is not easy to work with your significant other. Whoever's watching, if you gotta have a lot of patience.
You gotta have tough skin. You gotta have a lot of patience. Yes, patience is key.
Patience, tough skin, communication. I can tell you, I'm not a good communicator. I wasn't a good communicator. I was very much the person that like, tell me what I gotta do and I'll do it. And I might be pissed at you for being in the moment. I'll say like for being a dick. But at the end of the day, I'm going home and I'll see you next week and it is what it is and I'll get over it. But when it's your significant other, it's like you take things personal. You got to go home to them after, you know what I mean? Like it's very different. So you have to talk.
Yeah, no.
He would pull things out of me like, no, you need to talk to me. Something is wrong. You know, it's not just, no, I'm fine.
Yes.
You know, so I had to learn the hard way that you need to talk out certain things. You need to say certain things to get whatever it is that you want from the relationship or from the partnership. He was very tough because he comes from an athlete. Like he has an athletic background where like basketball, boxing. So he has a very like tough exterior and I'm like a soft butterfly, you know what I mean? So like a little soft flower. So I'm like, no, you need to talk to me like this and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it was very much like communication on like what it is that I need or how I feel safe and secure, and then also not taking things so personal because you're vulnerable, you know, like with dance, this is your art, this is your craft, you know, and you want to offer the best that you can. You're always trying to do the best that you can, and receiving criticism from someone that you're involved with can be taken not as constructive criticism. We can just take it personal. Where if it was coming from someone else, we wouldn't take it personal at all. So that was something that I like had so much trouble with. But there's also, you know, that I just mentioned a whole bunch of cons, but there's so many pros.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Like, traveling together, just like being business partners and learning from him, like, because he studied business. So learning from that is really cool. And like, he really knows his shit. I mean, sorry for the word, but
no, absolutely. You're fine.
There are just things that I never knew, and things that he just trained me in and that he's taught me that is just like, you really know your stuff, you know, because especially with partner work and like really intricate, fast footwork, like just the details that a lot of people don't teach. Oh, thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. So just little things that people don't teach you in a class, or you don't really learn in a 1 hour private, you know what I mean? There are things that he would teach me, like, no, to be a better, like, you have potential, but to be a better follow, you need to do this. And the female's supposed to do this. It's not this. And like I had all these assumptions that were so wrong. And I was, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it was a mind blown because everything you had learned up to that point, it was like, wow, now I'm actually learning the correct or the more appropriate position.
Yeah, like I didn't know there was a technique for that. Like I had no idea there was even a technique for that. You know what I mean? So it was I'm still learning. You know, he still has so much knowledge and things like I'm still learning from him, which is really, really cool because I learned that from him, like technical stuff. And then for me, he learns more of just like maybe like just the nitty gritty, like just feeling something or just like more movement or just like whatever it is. Like I feel like we really complement each other in that aspect where I'm strong at and what he's strong at, and like we kind of just bring both of them to the table. So that was really cool and that was really exciting for me because a lot of times my partnerships we were kind of the same, and you don't really grow as much as you could when there's someone that you can just really complement yourself with. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and I think a big correlation was, especially when you talked in the beginning about you had been in pageants. And for me, I've actually studied these type of pageants like on the TV shows, and they talk about the life or behind the scenes of it. And it's a very intense sport. I mean, you're actually competing maybe from a younger age into teenage years, into womanhood, and realizing that, like you said, Angel dealt with athletics with basketball and boxing, but also you dealt with a sport that was also very mental as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're used to winning, or there's always another time to win. And a lot of times when it comes in those pageants, it get very cutthroat. And for me, seeing over the years, understanding that the mental game it can play, especially on a young woman growing up, then you kind of shifting into dance, you took that competitive nature. So you and Angel actually were going through a similar experience. You just internalized it different.
Yeah.
Like you said, you became that more soft knit, like soft spoken, like, but you had a nitty gritty to you. But also you dealt with a person now who was focused on the technique of it. But the good thing was with your courtship, you guys were able to focus on communication, because I think that's the thing that lacks, not just with partners in dance or partners in life, is the topic of communication. Because like you're giving myself and the audience a lot of knowledge on what it really is like to be dating your partner and performing with them and doing business. Because a lot of couples like this, they don't speak about it, but they don't realize how much knowledge they can give to people to understand, like, hey, these are the roads you can go through, but you can also have the topic of communication that can help you make things go way smoother. Because again, if you don't speak up, you won't be heard. And for me, and I think a really special part is even going back when you talked about with Yumi and the gentleman Daniel Sanchez, and how he's been really like an important part of your life because he kind of helped you mold that militant type style. So I would love for you to kind of elaborate more on this gentleman Daniel Sanchez, if you can.
Okay, yeah. So Danny, I started with UM and then with Carlos, and he had a different partner. And then at the time, his partner left, and he was left without a partner. And he was known to be one of the strongest dancers on the team as far as the male goes. And him and UM would always choreograph, like they were the team captains. You know what I mean? Like you could word it like that. The directors of the dancers on the pro team. So to be Danny's partner, you had to know that you weren't messing around, like you weren't fucking around. Like you needed to make sure that you were going to be serious because he was a person that was serious about his time. And him and UM would try to go to New York for some trainings or like try to take class. And for me, I didn't even know you could go to New York and take a class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because again, you were coming from just I would say in a sense, naive standpoint.
Yeah, like
because you weren't just like, you didn't know what was going to happen. You were just, all right, I'm going with the flow and let's see what happens.
Which is super like me. I just go with the flow and you tell me, oh, we're gonna go to New York. Cool. Tell me
Yeah,
how
like
it went. You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome. So eventually he didn't have a partner. My partner was also in college, and things were getting tough for him. So I still wanted to dance. So we became partners. Basically, neither one of us had partners at the time. And I always told myself that for me to go to the next level with my dance, I needed to have a partner like him, who would like push his dancer, because he kind of had a rep, like he would push his dancers. So I've always been very determined, and I knew that would go well. So whenever we decided to be partners, it was just like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I was already like, I had already thought about it. You know what I mean? It was already something that I wanted, and it happened. So it was like 8 hours of rehearsals. We would show up to rehearsals before any of the other couples, just because he wanted to make sure that I was ready when it came to being on stage, or it came to social dancing with someone, or traveling anywhere, that like his partner was up to par. And that was I danced with him 3 years, and that was what it was the entire time. It was just him mentoring me, and he also studied in college. He graduated, so we were both in the engineering field, and I also had guidance in that as well. Like, how do you balance dance and chem? You know what I mean? Or how do you balance dance and calculus 3? So at the time, it was like he was my mentor in school and dance, and he was definitely someone that I looked up to, because to me, in my eyes, like he did it all. You know what I mean? Like for someone from the school, like he was the one that I looked up to and really pushed me and believed in me at the time. So I was always grateful for that.
Yeah. And it's important that, again, because I remember when you had brought this gentleman up, that how integral he was to your beginnings of where you are now, because I think everyone who's entered into your life in and out has left a lesson with you, and how to go about things. But one thing I would love to ask, at least before we get into really the solo career and then going back into the partnership with Angel, for you being a Florida based dancer at the point before traveling, I always wanted to know, from a person from Florida, was there like a notion of what the New York City dance scene was like? Kind of like, I always wanted to know that from people from Florida, because people from New York have our notions about people from other places as well.
Oh yeah, I know. Everybody has their notion of Floridians.
Yeah.
but yeah, I was afraid of New York. Like, there was this whole like praise. I mean, you guys are amazing. Like, New York dancers are amazing, but like there was literally like fear instilled in me because of New York, and how tough they are, and how judgmental, like, or how like not judgmental, but like how the stigma for Florida dancers of being not great. That was the stigma that stigma was told to us, right? We were told like, hey, Floridians are known for being shit, and Floridians are known to not be like known like good dancers, so if you're gonna go on the New York stage, you better, I guess it was more so to like motivate you, like, if you're gonna go to New York stage, or if you're gonna go to the New York Salsa Congress, you better make sure that you're ready.
Oh yes, that I understand, but for me,
so I was scared. I was like, oh my God, like, I was told that every single social dancer is amazing, and like the best dancers there, and I just remember like phrases, like, Floridians suck, so you got to prove yourself. And
wow.
Like, blah, blah,
and see
blah, blah.
this is important information, because
So I remember how I would hear stories like, oh, Yamule is tough and Santo Rico is tough, and it was, but I remember just being scared. The first time honestly, I had been dancing for 1 year, and I was told we were going to New York Salsa Congress. Julissa left the team, so I was UM's partner, and I had to perform at the New York Salsa Congress. I was shitting my pants, okay? I was like, oh my God. Listen, exactly. Danny knows you got to come to correct if you got to come in New York City, which I get, but I think it was just like blown out of proportion, because I was literally like scared. And I think like living in New York City now, I get it, pero tampoco pa tanto. You know, like it's not
Yeah.
like every single person is amazing.
Oh my God. And
It's
you
like they
say,
praise them like they're gods. I'm just like, okay, calm down.
yeah, and for me, and this is for me coming as a New Yorker, traveling and understanding when you tell somebody you're from New York, you kind of get that look of, oh, and I've heard people tell me this when I was in a Unity Dance Festival, talking with Floridians, and they're saying, yeah, we thought you New Yorkers were just rude as hell. We thought
Yeah.
you thought you guys were
Yeah.
full of it. And a lot of us, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of New York City dancers, specifically in the Latin dance scene, that are cocky, that are arrogant, and give off that appeal, but it's not everyone. But
Yeah,
also,
no.
and for me, when I was told about Floridians as dancers, and this came from a Floridian saying that the stereotype is that Floridians don't train the same as us,
Which is
because
true.
in the dance scene in New York, as you've seen, there's so many schools.
Yeah.
Some of the prominent schools can be in New York, and people come from near and far to go train there, like you, me, and your friends. But also, too, there's a collective of just dancers who just social dance. And it's not about
Yes.
going to a school. Sometimes people don't even take classes. They just go to these socials and have fun.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, to be honest with you, I think whether it's in Florida, whether it's in New York, there are rude people everywhere. There are people, arrogant people everywhere. But I definitely think the notion that, people, Floridians got of New Yorkers, it was when then they came to New York like yourself and then you went to these events. It was like, no, this is you guys, a lot of you know how to dance, but it's not like every person that I'm dancing with
Yeah.
is a professional.
Yeah, that's what it was. And I was just like, oh my God, like what is it was so tense. Everybody would like tense up. I'm just like, okay, I need to relax. These are humans, like they're pretty cool. I had a conversation with them,
Yeah.
like relax.
No, and the thing is, to be honest, I love that you can be honest about this, because I've had these same conversations with people in congresses, but it's always upstairs. It's always usually not in the festival setting. It's like when there's no music in a hotel room, when we're just sitting and talking, getting to know one another, and we understand, like, hey, even though you come from here and I come from here, we both enjoy the same thing. So that's really all that matters. But
Yeah.
it is very important that for myself as a New Yorker to let people know, and just like you've learned from the experience of living in New York, that yeah, every community has great dancers, but those great dancers have to train in order to be great, because we see that there's always a new dancer coming.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
always a
yeah.
new dancer. But for me to see like the hard work and the focus from you working with Daniel, but then also traveling to train in Mexico and Italy. But I think a really, really important notion was when you brought up kind of briefly was that you actually were working on your biomedical engineering degree. Like
Yeah.
to be honest, I know sometimes people who have these type of degrees, they don't really talk about it much because a lot of people don't understand what it
Yeah.
takes. But I think it's very important that not just as a woman, but as a human being, that you being able to balance both. Because a lot of times it's either my career as my major, am I going to stick to that full time? Because there always comes a point in your life when you have to realize, what am I going to do? So
Yeah.
is it going to be the biomedical engineering, or is it going to be my love for and my passion for dance? In my
Yeah.
opinion, I always say you just got to follow what you love, because even though you can make tons of money doing this, is it going to make you happy?
Yep. 100%.
And I think I really wanted to know now, because now we've kind of transitioned into your work in New York. What were your experience? I would love for a Floridian to tell me the experiences you had in New York.
My experiences in New York were actually really good. So I'm saying actually because I was surprised, and that's why I can say what I said. Like, okay, you people need to relax because it's not that bad. Hey, Mike. So, I had gone to the New York Salsa Congress several times with Prestige, and it was okay. Like I felt intimidated, but that was just because I was intimidated. A lot of people are intimidated by the New York Salsa Congress because usually the best is there. At the time you had the best schools and so many amazing performers from all over. It was known to be the best Congress, in my opinion, and the opinion of everybody around me. Hey, boo. So that's my dance mom, Julia. Hernandez.
See?
There she goes. Hey, boo. I told a whole story about you, but you were in there. Just know you were in there.
Oh, don't worry, because she's been here too.
So that was that. I was known with Prestige. Like I was known to be with Prestige. And then coming to New York City with Yazbek, we actually had a really great response. And I think that I know that New York City has seen it all. You know, they first of all, they have some of the best dancers and teams, but they've also seen a lot of people from outside. And it's either you got to come correct or you don't come at all. And I respect that. And I remember at the time, me and Yazbek were super nervous, like really nervous to perform. We were going to perform at Salsamania. And it was a full house as usual. It was at the old,
at Danceport.
Danceport. It was at the old location. And it was a good lineup. And I remember we were super nervous, but Alex Gonzalez, Alex El Maestro, gave us a really nice intro. And it made us feel kind of like full inside. It was really sweet what he said. And we relaxed, we performed, we killed it. We did a really good job. We brought something different. If anyone has seen Tequila, then you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen that routine, it was something fresh, something different. People vibed with it. They liked it. And I guess ever since then, people, I guess I was likable. I don't know, like the routine was likable.
Yeah.
So then in turn, people they just wanted to get to know you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They were curious, like, hey, I've seen you with a team in Florida, but you're here now. Like, oh shit. Or like, hey, you're not that bad. Like, where are you from? You're from Florida? Wow. You know what I mean? So personally, I didn't have a bad experience ever because I guess people, they liked what I brought, you know what I mean? And I feel like if they either like you or they don't. And I got lucky that they did, you know, or like some of them did. So and I knew some of the dancers, like I knew who Delia was. Like those elite dancers, I didn't have a relationship with them, but over the years, like they knew who I was. Like the Carlos Sapphire, like those dancers that do travel every year or several times a year to Florida. I knew who they were, so it's not like I was a complete stranger. They just kind of put two and two together, and it was like, oh, you've gotten better. Like, what are you doing now? You know, you're not on a team anymore. So, it was actually kind of welcoming. And I would say it was very intimidating with Angel and myself, because now you're bringing something else new, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, Mario B once told me that even if you jump off the internet, so you make it look
it's true. Like again, New York is a tough crowd, and like you're saying, it actually, from your pageant days to the starts of Prestige to now you becoming involved in the New York scene, you were kind of molded with that tough grit in you. So I think that helped as well, because like you said, you came into New York with this like kind of intimidated notion about it. But even that small gesture that Alex and Maestro from Salsamania gave to you as an intro, it gave you that sense of comfort. It gave you that sense of relief of, okay, now I can really just be myself on this stage. I'm not going to worry about anything. And for me, I'm going to tell you this, as dancing long as I have in this scene and seeing people like the Carlos Sapphires and the Delias and so on and so on, one thing I can say is this: they respect dancers who have trained and work hard. And you can tell even through one show, if this person really sometimes is focused on even getting better, or this is just one show I did and that's it. Because as you know, in Salsamania, there's shows, there's so many, like 3 to 5 shows a night. And it means a lot when you started, especially with doing a tequila routine with Yazbek, and then now seeing you more and more and more at the same social or in New York performing the routines, and it's showing like, wow, your hard work is paying off, because as they say in New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But
Right.
ultimately, you can't make it anywhere unless you want to make it there.
Mhm.
You know, so for you to constantly keep training and working, and especially in a place like New York that can be very tough, because I think you've been to socials and maybe others haven't, that you can go there with an open mind, not even you performing, but you as a spectator, and see performances, and you can see people literally like this. They will not clap.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
and
they'll just like they'll purposely, yeah, you're performing here, they'll purposely like look over there. They just won't even
yes.
look at you.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I want people to understand this is coming from both of our experience. You as a Floridian coming here, but living here and going to these events, that we understand when we say it's tough, it is tough. It's not easy. And there are certain places that they won't clap for you for the first 1 or 2 times you do it. You could kill it, but
You
it's
could be
you gotta
like, come on, blah, 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 and
yeah.
people look at you like you crazy as hell. Like, what,
Yeah, like when you're
doing?
shimmying and you're doing the Roomba, and it's like you're feeling it. And at the end of the day, a lot of them will say this, and this is not a secret. A lot of dancers will just say, "Wow, you did amazing." But you can look at them and you can tell, did you mean that, or are you just telling me that?
I hate when people do that. Don't tell
Yeah.
me. You know
But
it's a bad show. Just don't. Just don't.
I appreciate the gratitude, but then like it's sad when they say that to you and then they away from you and they're like, wow, that show was not good. And it's like, to be honest, it's a way of approaching your artists. It's the way of approaching these dancers, because you yourself and anyone else that gets on this stage, I have a huge respect for, because I understand the responsibility. For those 2-3 minutes, you want the people locked on to you, not to their phones.
Yeah.
You know, and I know from your experience, you've had people that you can just see and they're engaging with you, and it just makes your performance even better.
Yeah, my favorite thing performing is catching people off guard. Like I'm looking at, like I love performing on a floor more than on a stage.
Yeah.
Thanks, boo. So I love, my favorite thing is to, because I'm looking at people, I look at individual people and like catch them off guard and like literally like interact with them, and they're like, oh shit, she's looking at me. Oh shit.
Yeah. Because like you thought I wasn't gonna catch you. You thought like I got you. Now you know. I know. It's
That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite moment. The whole thing, just like catching people off guard. Yes, Mike. People will love you in silence. They'll pretend like they didn't like it, and then they really did.
And then I mean, you have
that's everywhere though. That's everywhere.
You have even Julie saying this. You know, Florida has a bad habit of calling everyone amazing.
Oh yeah, and then we believe it. Well, I was always told, you know, receive everything with a grain of salt, and you choose what you, depending on who it is, you trust what they're saying or not.
Yeah,
Julie going into there. Julie goes in every day. Julie goes in every day. I don't know what you're talking about, guy.
Man, oh my God, it's just like, and look, they're just going at it, and it's like, if people are not ready, they're not ready. Costume, hair, and makeup don't make it work. Yes, and that's the thing too. It's and we're gonna get into definitely your new entrepreneurship with your makeup. But people also have to understand it doesn't just take the costume and the makeup. It really just takes the focus. And I always tell people, if you're not ready to go on stage, don't go on it. If you feel, of course, it's okay to have those nerves. But if you know that you don't know your routine from top to bottom, just be prepared that when you perform and if you mess up, people are going to notice. And it's okay to have constructive criticism. It's different than disrespecting a person who just got off the stage.
Yeah, one thing that Angel and I are huge on is, well, one thing personally, I feel like we're never going to feel ready. You know, like you never feel like every single time I get on stage, I'm never going to fuck this up. Like you just never feel ready. You always feel like, well, if the routine is challenging you, for example, my routines are always challenging me. I always feel like I have something to work on. But that's where consistency, you know, if you can get the routine 10 times, or like 8 times or 7, 8 times out of 10, then you're consistent. You know, you just got to do the show once, or we show our friends, you know, like some of the people that Angel and I always show our routines to, or like Dele, we take a private, we show them Dele Madera, Michelle and Brandon, or Benny and Ashley, you know, like those colleagues that we have, that we we trust, you know, their work and like their experiences and
Yeah.
their mind to say like, y'all not ready, or like, yes, it looks good, but tweak this up or whatever. So it's never just like us by ourselves. We
Mhm.
always try to get second opinions, or like I mentioned, take a private with someone and have them see it. And it's reassuring that, okay, you know, we're set, like, or we got to work on a few things before we take it to the next level. So definitely that helps if
Yeah, no,
anyone is
absolutely. And
wondering.
like you said, is that it's not just about you and Angel, and you
Yeah.
realize that, you know, you have people here that are in your corner. You have other couples that you can look at and for reassurance and also help, because again, it's okay to ask people for help or
Oh yeah.
some advice on, hey, what do you think about this? Because
Or
again,
coaches. Yeah.
yeah, the coaches are amazing. I mean, for me, I think people have to understand that in our dance scene, it's big, but it also is very small. And to me, in the last maybe 5 to 10 plus years, I've noticed that down south, specifically from Florida all the way to Texas, has been really grooming some really amazing dancers. And not just yourself. There's so many different socials now happening and events. But
Congresses. Yeah.
yeah, congresses, the Orlando Salsa Congress,
Miami's has
especially
another one.
Miami. Yeah, it's like, to me, it's just seeing the growth and the progression, especially too, is that a lot of our New York artists are also now traveling into Florida and creating their and putting their work there too, and sharing their knowledge with a lot of Floridians. You know, and it's really special just to see the migration of you coming up here, and also people from here coming down there, because at the end of the day, it's for the love of the dance. And for me, I would like to know, not even just like to know, but first I want to say I've really been loving now, especially now during this COVID time and quarantining, a lot of artists now have been utilizing efficiently the online marketing
Oh
and
yeah.
really now doing what we see as online classes, virtual classes. And for me, I'm not going to lie, your class or your workshops or with Angel really have been catching my eye, especially with the complexity of your patterns, the fluidity and the complexity. And that definitely
Thank you.
goes, yeah, it goes to you, but it also goes to Angel, because I know when his past experience with Art in Motion with Darlene Garcia and them, you know, an Art in Motion dancer. For a person who's been in the scene long enough, that specific team, especially from Philly, is like world renowned. So watching how you guys can just have so much fun and just make it look flawless and simple but fun, that's a big difference, because sometimes you can tell through a camera when someone's forcing it or someone is just going through the motions. See, you going with the flow also helps within your teaching if you don't realize it, because it's just about, of course, there's the moments we don't get to see of the falls and the trips and the
Oh
mistakes,
yeah.
but you realize then when it is complete, all of that was worth it.
Yeah, there was a lot of beating out some habits from me. There was a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, even
But
having
thank
George,
you, George.
I know. And to me, honestly, I really, if I'm not mistaken, like I've definitely seen people even doing the turn patterns from you and like sending it back to you, and just seeing like the engagement, because you know we don't have the ability to reach these people personally and touch them, but to see like the impact that you guys have been having of doing these online classes, what can you kind of say to that?
I would say adapting. You know, I think that the online thing is genius. You know, because not only obviously the pandemic, right? You can't
Mhm.
have classes in person, but the amount of people that you're able to reach, or the people that you're able to reach, is crazy. Like I never thought that somebody from Australia wanted to take a class from us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And within our first student that signed up or that asked for us to teach virtual classes were from Spain. And it was just like, what? You want to take class from us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So really it was adapting to the times, because if it weren't for COVID, you know, who knows if we would have thought to teach online classes. our mind wasn't there. But yeah, adapting to the times and just trying to offer the best of us. Like sometimes, most of the times we try to create the sequence beforehand, and it's like we're really like trying to take the best out of us, trying to push ourselves to then push our students, because it's not easy. It's not easy to keep them engaged. And the way Angel is, he's just constantly like vomiting all these crazy term patterns, just like, okay.
Yeah, just it's gonna take some time here. Yeah. What do you want to do? Because you're giving me all of this, but
yeah. So a lot of times the way that we function is now we know, like now that we've been dancing together for 2 years, it's just like I understand his creative process. Mm-hmm. So what we do is that the turn patterns are typically created from a social dancing. Just lead and follow. And then we clean it up or we brush it up. Like let's say I didn't follow something as smoothly, or I didn't spin as fast, because obviously I'm following just regular. Now we can make it more polished and like, oh, what if we did this? What if we angled this? So if you guys have seen our classes, then you would definitely know what I'm talking about when I do like all these movements. But yeah, honestly, you asked me about the online classes. It's adapting to the times, and it's not going to go anywhere. Like that's something that we're going to stick to. We're going to stay doing, even if and when we teach in person, just because of the people, the students that we're able to have, and it's really amazing to be able to even talk and communicate with these people while they're like 12-hour different time zone. You know what I mean? Yes. So it's really humbling. It's really exciting. We had no idea that we had potential students from Switzerland and Spain and Australia. Like I get a huge smile on my face, because it's just like, all we see is what we're doing. We just see our rehearsals, and we just see us social dancing, and we see ourselves just trying to implement and trying to work just as hard as we can, with our head low and just trying to work. And then you look up and you have all these people, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. It's like all those rehearsals that I was so frustrated, like it's finally paying off.
No, it's true, because I would say is this, I've met many dancers that they work hard, and all of the rewards and benefits that they get in return, a lot of times they don't see it because they just keep working. And don't see the end result of, hey, my focus, because again, you started from a quince with Jalissa Hernandez, and to see where you are now, and now with this COVID-19 situation affecting our dance community as a whole, because we thrive on socialization, we thrive on connection. But now it's funny, I've actually saw a meme, because I heard you earlier, or somebody saying that you were going in, but I would say, to me, I've seen a meme going around of when before dancers would talk, or instructors would say, oh, how could you learn from online? But now everybody's doing it. Because again, we have to, like you said, adapt to the situation. And to be honest, it's amazing to see. And this should show you how much people really do appreciate your work as a person, because you have people now from countries you've never been to that found you, and found that appreciate what you and Angel bring to the table. And they're willing to invest in that to help themselves get better. So, I know a lot of dancers, they get very giddy when people are like you're doing amazing work, but I can clearly tell you're doing amazing work. I mean, to be honest, the turn patterns that I'm seeing are so modern, and so just really like they're pushing the culture and the envelope forward. They're pushing the approach and how we do things, and allowing other dancers now to focus on being more complex, using the music more to your advantage. Because for so long we've seen partner work kind of a certain way, but to be honest, you and Angel definitely bring something new to the table.
Thank you. I would definitely say it's intricate and playful.
Yes.
intricate, playful, and progressive. We're constantly moving, the guy and girl, because for me, I was always taught that the girl moves. The girl's constantly doing all the work. The girl is constantly doing just a lot, you know, and in this case, we're both doing a lot. So it's definitely
a balance of 50. Yeah, it's not anymore you doing everything. No.
Yeah,
You got to do some work too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
cool.
and I love that you guys just have that balance, have that connection. But that really kind of now transitions me and sort of into the closing. But now understanding that from your dancing, you've actually found a new passion, and it's actually now really starting to blossom. And it is now your makeup brand and your makeup journey. So I'd definitely love for you to elaborate more on that.
Yes. So makeup kind of happened by accident. Julie, y'all just saw her, Julie Hernandez. She's always been huge on representation. So me coming under her wing at the time, she was the one that taught me how to, you know, get some makeup, do a wing liner and foundation. And her best friend at the time worked at MAC. So we would constantly get our makeup done, and I always was very observant to learn because I always wanted to look good, you know, for my shows. And over time, like throughout the years, I would just wear makeup for the shows. I would never wear makeup ever, like just eyeliner and mascara, but that was it. Other than that, I would always, she knows what I'm talking about. So she taught me a little bit. Her best friend at the time, who was a makeup artist, taught me a little bit. And the moments that I did perform, I enjoyed doing my makeup. But other than that, I never had a reason to really do my makeup like that. So then eventually, I kind of just started to wonder like more about skincare.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know like how to properly take off your makeup, and because makeup wipes are not that good for you. Like I started to hear things, you know. I was like, oh, so what is the proper way, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, let me YouTube it, because nobody seems to have the answer. So YouTube, and then that takes me to another video of like how to not make your foundation cakey. And then another video of like how to make your eyeshadow look more blended. And then it was literally like that. That happened like about a year and a half ago, or a year, that I just really started to watch YouTube. Like instead of me watching Netflix, I was literally like 5 hours on YouTube. I know it sounds crazy, but I would do that, and I would just learn. And Angel would tell me, he would yell at me, be like, you should be watching dance videos. I don't know why you keep watching makeup. You keep buying makeup. You keep doing this, you keep doing that. And I'm just like, okay. And I just kept watching my videos, and I would just practice doing, every time I would go to a social, I would practice something different. And people started noticing, like, your makeup looks really good. Oh, thanks. You know, for shows, I started to get better. I started to get more intricate with my eye makeup. And that was very noticeable. Like a lot, it would just cause more attention. Like girls would really notice my eyes and stuff. So I was at China and Brandon Johnson's apartment.
Yeah.
And Angel and myself, we were hanging out. I think we were going to go to a social, and we were hanging out at their apartment, one of the million times that we would hang out. And shout out to China and Brandon. Love y'all. But they would always gas me up about my makeup. And then one of the nights,
I wish we could get Angel in here so he could talk.
Cállate tú, que no están hablando contigo. So then they were like, you know what? You should open a YouTube account, and you should do this, and you should start doing tutorials. Your shit look good. Your shit look bomb. And blah, blah, blah. I'm not just like, oh, stop. You know, like whatever. You're just saying that, you know, because I'm very realistic, and me comparing myself to all these gurus, I just felt like, nah, I'm not at that level. You know, I'm not at that level to showcase my makeup. So they're like, no, you're good. So then I remember that night, Angel and I got back from the social. I think we went to like Candelas or something. And then he was like, you know what? You could really capitalize on this. Like, I think that you should start a YouTube channel, and you should do this. You have the makeup. You have the tools, and you have the talent. Like, just practice. You know, whatever you're gonna do, just record yourself doing, and that's all you got to do. And I was like, you sure? So Angel, he obviously is not a makeup expert, but he has an eye for like everything. Like, he just knows what looks right, and he just has I call him a genius because like he just knows.
Yeah.
He just knows, you know, like if you have potential, he sees it. If you don't have potential, he's not going to tell you to pursue something because he's not going to set you up for failure. But I was like, all right, you know, but what, babe? Like, if you think that this is worth it, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. That was in February that I had the balls. I was like, okay, finally, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna open a makeup account on Instagram. I'm gonna do it, a YouTube channel. I'm gonna do it. I was so nervous. People really liked it, the tutorial. I just kept doing more tutorials, taking more pictures. I would take like little online lessons because I had never taken like an actual class.
Okay.
I would just ask questions whenever a makeup artist would do my makeup, or I would take pictures in between, but I never actually I never went to school for that. Never took a lesson or anything. So I would take like little online lessons, and now we're here. And now I have all these plans and all these like, obviously for dance and then for makeup. And I just like have all these ideas and innovations. And it's just like, it's really exciting.
No, it is. It is because again, like now another passion or love you have, it works perfectly with our culture.
Exactly.
Like it's like how many performances there are.
It's needed. I feel like there's a need for it because so many girls, they don't know how to do their makeup for a show, or they don't know what to buy, or they don't know what products are good, what kind of products. They don't know about skin. They don't know why their makeup, like
it makes them break out.
Yeah, like one thing that was super frustrating for me was like, okay, I'm caking my face. And why is it that you can't see that shit on camera? Like, why is it that you can't see my makeup in pictures? And that was
you did all that makeup, and then it just nothing shows.
That was so frustrating for me. And then I finally figured it out, and it was just a lot of frustration because I never understood. And a lot of these makeup artists, they don't do makeup for performers. You know, they just do makeup for whatever, just social. You know, and makeup for performers is different. It's different techniques that you need to apply. It's different products that need to be used. You need to be more specific. It needs to be targeted for performers. So undertones, like all that, especially Danny understands because he's a photographer, and it's all the same thing, like flash photography or the cameras, the stage, the lights, all that matters. So that knowledge is crucial for performers. And a lot of people say like, okay, a lot of dancers think, okay, just me showing up on stage is it, but it's not, you know, it's also costume and makeup. But costume and makeup isn't the only thing. You also have to put in the work. So if you have the full triangle, your routine is bomb, your costume is bomb, and your hair and makeup are bomb, you're golden. Like, here's the trophy. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, because when you have the full, complete package in a sense,
counts. Everything counts. Everybody's looking at your shoes, you know, your costume, your hair, your makeup. It just adds that much more value to you, and I'm all about that, you know. So I think it's huge. I think it's something that the dance industry needs, and I'm super excited for what's to come because it's definitely a market that I am trying to take over.
Absolutely. And honestly, I definitely support it myself. I definitely love what you and Angel are doing. I love what you're doing with your makeup and just seeing the trajectory and realizing that even through our hardest times, you're going to make sure that you put your brand out there and expose it to the masses. Because again, nowadays, you really have to be computer savvy and social media savvy in order to get your brand out there. So I think it is really important what you're doing for our community, because again, in the future, when we do have festivals or congresses or weekenders, your services will be utilized on stage, but also off stage with this makeup. So, I mean, for me, I'm thankful that we were able to talk tonight to get a really better of an understanding of Stephany, because again, for me, just seeing you in performances, now having a really great discussion with you, I understand you so much more. So, I mean, for me to see the humility in you, to see the road that you went on in the journey, it really says a lot to your character and how you've grown. Your work with Angel is amazing, like I said, and your performances, the demos, the workshops, the classes. Again, I know you guys right now are in Puerto Rico. So again, I do hope you guys are safe. But at least before we go, I wanted to know, what are some last words that you would love to leave myself and the audience with?
Well, it's last words. Obviously, I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for anyone that was willing to hear or get to know a little bit about me. And I would say that a huge word to, I guess, try to resonate with is adapting. And I know that it's really hard, tough times right now. It's really weird, odd times. And the best thing that we can all do is just try to adapt to the times. And if we're adapting, then we're able to, what's the word that I'm looking for? We're able to desarrollar. How do you say that in English? Develop. We're able
Yeah.
to
Okay.
develop.
Okay. Yeah.
We're able to. I just had like a super Spanish moment. Sorry,
No.
guys.
No.
So we're able to develop and really grow, right? We won't stay in one place. We won't stay stagnant. We'll
Yes.
give ourselves the opportunity to other opportunities. We'll open the doors to other opportunities. So if anything, if you guys take anything from me, any little thing that I can leave with you guys is really try to adapt to the times. I know that change is scary, and unfortunately things will never be the same. So it's unfortunate in some ways. In other ways, it's actually a good thing, because we're going to be more aware, and there's pros and cons, of course, but just try to adapt to the times. Try to, if you can, go virtual. If you lost your job, then it's really scary. Try to see what you can do online. I know that not everybody is savvy with the computer, but it's definitely something that we need to get savvy with. I'm over here editing videos. I'm over here recording videos. I'm over here doing tutorials. Like, I never saw myself doing that, but you just really got to adapt and try to open those doors for yourself, because if not, then we're just going to be stuck in the dark. So
Absolutely. I mean, and I think also another thing is, what I love doing is just supporting other brands and other people that are doing stuff. And just like you are doing stuff with your makeup. Myself, I don't wear makeup, but it's awesome to see a person in my community having their own ownership, something that they've created, something that they want to share with other people. And I think it is important, especially nowadays, that we do again have to be social media savvy. But stuff that you're doing, honestly, just helps every person that loves makeup. And like earlier, someone said this is $1 billion industry, and realizing like, hey, capitalize on that. But the fact that you love it as well, even though, like you said, you weren't even trained, like in a personal standpoint, you soaked in knowledge. You really took the time to research on YouTube, because again, you can learn a lot from that, especially when it comes to makeup. But and then even with your dancing, realizing the road that you've been through, with the many trainings you've gone in and out of the U.S., the partnerships that you've had throughout the years, I think it goes to show that, when you really do work hard and you keep your eyes on the prize, you will get every reward you sow. And for me, I'm really, again, honored that I could have you on tonight. Because like I tell every guest I have, this is our first interview, but it won't be our last. So for me, I'm glad that I can get this really first introduction to Stephany Moore. I'll tell you this, you are shining light out of Stuart, Florida. So, I mean, you made it out. You made it out the countryside.
Child.
I trust, man. I've been to Florida. Florida is rough. But to be honest, just to see a person like yourself who came, because most people would think you come from Miami, but then to see that you came from kind of the outskirts and you worked your way up, it speaks volumes. So again, Stephany,
still a long way to go.
Yeah, I really thank you so much for coming on tonight. Honestly, I'll tell you this, after this interview, I would love for you to look at all the comments that just keep rolling in.
I gotta see them. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. We even got your girl Julie talking about the makeup, and she's like, "You're not gonna be looking crazy with me." And
I
even
love you, Julie.
she used to make the girls match nail colors. But it's I love that we got to have this conversation, because also realizing the people that were very impactful in your life watching this and really appreciating you and showing you, like, you are appreciated and what you're doing means something. So again, Stephany, I thank you so much, and I hope I can have you on later this year for sure to kind of get an update on what you and Angel are doing, and also would love to have an interview with Angel. I will speak to him as well because I want to do one. I've done one with you. I want to do one with him, and then in the future do one together.
Okay,
so
cool.
So that's something I'm really, because as I'm not just like a journalist, I just really care about our community and the people that I see are pushing the culture forward.
Yes, preach. You're gonna get two sides. You're gonna get the two sides of the story. So y'all better know who to believe. Y'all better know who to believe.
It's your truth, it's his truth, and then it's God's truth. So I mean, for me, I appreciate you so much coming on and taking the time out. I hope that you and your family are staying safe out there. We're excited for you to come back to New York.
Yes.
So absolutely. And at least before we go, would you love to give us some kind of contact information so people can be able to reach you and your brand?
Yes, guys. So for the salsa classes, Angel and I, we teach Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 4. Classes are recorded online, and you can reach us on Facebook, which is my name, Stephany Moore, or on Instagram at Steph Moore 93, or Angel's is what is it?
Snapshot or something? I think
Snapshot. Sorry, babe, I forgot. Snapshot Age 1. Snapshot Age 1, or you can just search our names. And then as for my makeup one on Instagram, it's Moore, my last name, .makeup. There's a pun. I know, but I thought it was cute. So Moore.Makeup. And actually tomorrow I will be teaching 2 lessons, one on Instagram, which is free, with Desiree Godsell. We're going to be collabing, making a performance makeup look for her. And then later in the evening from 6 to 7:15, I will be teaching an online lesson for all of the girls that want to learn a really nice makeup look for your eyes. So if you want to sign up for that, you can definitely DM me and I can get you registered.
Absolutely. I'm glad that we could give that information out, because again, it's like, you have your businesses and you're constantly doing work, you're doing stuff tomorrow. So I would love for anyone who tunes in here or watches this tonight or early tomorrow, definitely check out Stephany's work, especially with her collaboration now with Desiree Godsell. So, I mean, definitely, again, Stephany, I appreciate you coming on tonight. It was a really wonderful discussion that we had. I felt like we definitely builded more, and I definitely can't wait to see you again in New York City, safe and soundly. So again, be safe out there. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your week, and we will definitely be in touch very soon.
Likewise, Diamond. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. I
Absolutely.
appreciate y'all.
Everyone, have a good night.
Mwah.